Good evening, this is Atmospheric Alex here, and welcome back to another U.S. weather forecast outlook and discussion. And in today's video, we're going to be addressing the large uncertainties coming up when it comes to our snow chances and the large Arctic outbreaks that will be looming as we progress through the month of January. Now, as we start with our analysis data, there's quite a bit of snow moving across our interior northeast region here that is providing a little bit of accumulation, but nothing much, and pretty much nothing else for the rest of the entire country. Believe it or not, very quiet out there right now. That's going to change just a little bit, as we head into the latter portions of this week. In terms of our alert map, there's really not much going on. Definitely a damaging windstorm across Montana. It's definitely ongoing. We're talking about winter weather advisories across UP and Michigan, and that's about it. At least that's about it for the continental U.S. As we move into Alaska here, we're going to begin to see something really fascinating. We currently have a civil emergency message, and I believe yesterday it was a civil danger emergency for the city of Juneau, Alaska. Basically, due to a really intense atmospheric river, we have a ton of snow on the ground in these areas, and we just had several inches of rain, so all the snow is being washed away. There's a ton of flooding currently flowing through the city as we speak, and especially yesterday, it looked really dangerous. I saw a video of it online. And then also, all that is starting to refreeze back up. So we are talking about a lot of problems with snowmelt, avalanches. There has been some really significant activity ongoing on the mountains over there. If you all are thinking about going in the mountains, I would hold off for now. It is looking quite dangerous, and it looks like things, though, will improve over the next few days, thankfully. Now, with that urgent message out of the way, it's time to look at synoptic weather here. Time to look at our mesoscale models for our incoming storm system, right? Our first storm system that has our snow chances. And would I really call it a storm system at this point? Not really, but there's going to be energy associated. You could see a band of rain, just good old-fashioned plain rain moving through some areas, then some snow behind it. But we're not really talking about too much activity. You could see some scattered snow showers, maybe some snow flurries, maybe trying to etch into West Tennessee, Western Kentucky, but I do think the bulk of the action is going to stay kind of up here. I'd say like in this cone area here. That, in my opinion, is where the majority of your snow action is going to be located from this system, and especially in your Appalachian Mountains, maybe not as much in your valley. We have significantly downtrended on this system. It's actually kind of astonishing and, a little bit unfortunate, really, for you snow lovers. You still see some snow showers across East Tennessee, but it looks like a Great Lakes show again. So a lot of places that were promised snow are going to miss out yet again. Kind of unfortunate, right? And that's exactly why weather models should not be taken as a forecast, right? So they're basically just model data, predictions, possibilities, but it's not a forecast. Remember, I mentioned that over and over, especially on long-range outlooks. And speaking of a long-range outlook, here is your European model here. And here is our main Arctic outbreak here. This did look a little more serious on some of the other models last night, but maybe it is trying to calm down just a little bit. You can see a piece of energy after that. Look at that, lows in between -10 to -15 degrees in northern Minnesota. That is just no fun, is it? Not historic. You all have seen cold like this many, many times in the past. So really, I'm not too worried for you guys up there. Really not worried for too many people in general. Just please limit your time outside, especially in the morning hours. But this cold is not abnormal in the slightest. It's winter. It happens. -20, -25. That's pretty cold. But again, you've seen that before. Look it up here for portions of Canada, -40. Okay, that's getting a little bit more intense, but you can see as we continue through time, yeah, our cold weather really just sticks around. Look at that. Up for your north, your polar vortex becomes a lot more active, and I said this a lot yesterday, we're expecting an Arctic boundary to kind of set up if you will, somewhere I would say right within here where we're going to have rain to the south, snow to the north. And if our precipitation pattern gets really active after this pattern change, we could be talking about a lot of problems. But towards the end of our model run here, a whole bunch of cold air actually spills down south. So that's something we're going to have to note. Not too abnormal, but yeah, some areas are going to get close to records if that happens, but it's too far out. 15 days out, not a forecast, right? Just a model prediction. Our precipitation chart here from our European model, and there's not going to be too much to see. We do have a very light clipper system moving through on Thursday and Friday across West Tennessee. Maybe some scattered snow showers, snow squalls, though it doesn't look that intense. You're just going to see a ton of energy flying around. Then for the deep south, we have to watch out for this. If we have any amount of moisture down here, we could wind up seeing a wintry mix, maybe even some snow down there for the deep south. Not really calling it for along the Gulf Coast just yet, but don't be surprised. You could see some flakes flying around way down here. Something to really watch for. That system kind of consolidates, doesn't do much more. Clipper systems, energy flying by. You can see that really just continues. And then your energy, again, there's really not much more to talk about. This at the end of the model run, I'll tell you what, this is what could bring us a snowstorm risk for the south after a pattern change. But let's really not get too much in depth about that yet because we don't really know all the specifics. Here's a look at our GFS model in terms of our temperature, but here is your cold air coming on down. Temperatures even getting into the teens for some areas. I do believe this will be an intense Arctic outbreak, but really nothing abnormal. This next one comes down, and this is when things could get a lot more serious. We're talking about temperatures in the single digits. Look at that. Across portions of the central U.S., dipping into your negatives up here in your northern U.S., areas that typically see it at this time of year. So not exactly abnormal, but it's gonna feel rough out there. But down here, the GFS really adamant on portions really far south, getting into some extreme cold. We're talking about 20s, almost teens near the Gulf Coast. Now that is abnormal, right? That is a little bit too cold for my liking if I was living down there for sure. And then you could see moving on through, we have a few more shots of Arctic air. Not as much of a warm-up. Remember yesterday we were talking about a big warm-up. I mean, it tries to show up, but then once again it gets flattened out really quickly. So I'm not seeing a big warm-up, maybe a day or two at the very most, but really nothing much more than that. The temperatures kind of become more mild, but now we're 15 days out, so it's a lot more uncertain. Our precipitation chart here, well, it basically is going to look similar to the European model. A little more snow moving into East Tennessee, but the system is completely corroded in on itself. You could see a clipper system possible, so I think Thursday and Friday, if you are in West Tennessee, and even going into Saturday, even Sunday, because you're just going to have a ton of energy flying all over the place, you could potentially see some snow flurries and snow showers, but nothing more than that. Another weak clipper system here tries to link up with some southern stream energy, and it does a little bit across your deep south. Again, I really wouldn't be shocked if you all see random snow down all the way down here in these areas, but only time will tell. As you can see, there is some energy. It tries to link up, but it waits a little bit too long, and it happens off the coast. After this, what are we expecting here? Or what are we possibly going to see? You see a lot more energy flying around. Our Arctic boundary sets up, and there is some snow for your northern sections, and then some wintry stuff ongoing. We have no idea what's going to happen. That's the long and short of it. This looked a little more rich in precipitation, and now it's starting to flatten out again. So model trends are really not trends at this point. They're going all over the place. As we take a look at our lower level temperatures here from our European ensemble, you can see our first system here digging a lot further off to the west, or I should say to the east, if I can get my directions right, my gosh, over here, a lot further off to the east than it was saying yesterday. You could see how it's kind of doing that. Yesterday, it was a little bit more over here, so definitely quite an eastward shift in our guidance, unfortunately. That is why snow chances have completely diminished for some areas. And our second one, also trended a lot further off to the east, and looks to stay a lot further off to the north as well. And Yeah, that's just not what you want to hear when we're talking about snow, right? You don't want a system being caught up to the north. You want completely diving down south, which we'll have to wait and see on that. But you can see afterwards, we do have our 30-degree Fahrenheit line, definitely sufficiently far enough south here for a lot of areas, and really we're going to have a lot of surface level cold air in place, so winter weather may be a bit easier to come by after the pattern change. But that is all pure speculation for now, and models will do whatever they want to do, as well as Mother Nature, right? Our GFS ensemble here, you can see this comes down, again, a lot further east, so not much snow chances, cold and dry. This still gets kind of bunched up to the north, but this in particular does dive a little further south on your GEFS, which is why we see heightened snow chances across your southern US. And then that kind of pulls on out very slowly. My goodness, at a snail's pace. And then we do get into a much more favorable pattern. Look at this. On the GEFS ensemble, our 30-degree Fahrenheit line actually dives all the way down here. So if that continues moving further south, snowstorm chances will definitely be on the rise for sure with everything after the pattern change. But again, this is too far out for now. As we look at our European extended here, our snow mean has started to struggle once again here for portions of the Mississippi Valley. That area, honestly, in my honest opinion, is going to be a gigantic question mark until we get a solidified storm system in place that could bring snow. If we can. I think we will, but it's going to be a massive waiting game for you all out here, unfortunately. If you want a true snowstorm. If you just want to see snow flying around, you might get that easily over the next week, but we'll see. East Tennessee is going to be a big time winner across the south, and then we'll have to wait and see for other locations as well. One last thing I wanted to show you all is our Madden-Julian oscillation. I showed this in yesterday's video. You can see it progressing on time. We're in phase 6 right now. We're going to go speeding through phase 7 into phase 8, and some of these, not a couple, a lot of these ensemble members have a very intense MJO propagation here. This, if it goes this far out, we're talking 2 to 3 standard deviations above average in intensity. If it does this, we'll definitely be talking about a cold and snowy look for the rest of January, especially into February, because this will have long-range implications. I mean, we are talking about this really reaching far out there, super duper far away from the circle of death right within here, where we have been caught for the last month. That's why models have been struggling significantly. So good thing we're going to be coming out of that, and models may get a better grip on a cold and snowy late January into the month of February. Alright, and with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to my little corner of the weather community, share this video with friends and family on social media, and even leave a comment in the section below if you enjoyed the video, if you found it informative, or if you have any future suggestions for me next. As always, have a wonderful night, everyone. Stay weather aware out there, and bundle up, because it is going to get cold out there. My goodness.